Hey guys, welcome back to this week's pull, or as Josh would like to say,
What are we reading?
And before we get started with that, I just wanted to say, guys, thank you so much for all the views and attention you guys have garnered on our last videos. Last week was a hell of a week for us to put up a lot of videos, but you guys seem to appreciate that and like it. All the videos got a good amount of views on them, other than maybe X-Men Grand Design, which I would encourage you to check that out if you guys have not already. And with that, we are going to start off with our review for the DC and independent stuff that we read today. I'm going straight on to Project Superpowers #1. Now, if you guys remember back about a month ago, I did a quick review on issue 0, which was a 10-cent issue. Best bang for your buck that week for sure. This one is by Rob Williams and Sergio Davila. And man, this book was awesome. I really like it. I mean, the artwork is gorgeous in this.
Great arting.
Yeah, they were great arting styles. And what I liked about this book is that it's basically asking us whether or not we need superpowers and superheroes in this day and age. It's like they're all over video, they're all over TV, they're all over the movies and blockbusters and stuff. But it's like the idea of the villain being black and white, being this binary kind of person, is no longer gone. We're operating in this world in shades of gray, and it's like everyone who used to be a superhero in the 40s is no longer a superhero. You know, and I like that it's asking us to ask that question: how long are these characters relevant, and why are they still relevant in our pop culture? But yet in our society, it seems like the worst people are kind of our neighbors. You know, so I really like that idea. And of course, now at the very end, we get a new superhero in the making for today's 21st century of what people are like now that kind of embody that idea. But what do you guys think?
I thought the artwork was great. I mean, the storytelling was good. I liked it. It was just like, it wasn't something that blew my hair back.
Oh God, is that the second?
I'm just gonna keep saying Jake's phrases. It's fun.
I really enjoyed it. Again, to repeat what you guys said, artwork was fantastic. That was the very first thing. I was like, holy crap, this artwork's amazing. I wasn't familiar with any of these characters or the fact that they existed in the 40s, so it was cool to understand that they've existed, and they kind of catch you up to date, basically saying we fought a war, but yet in 2018 we're still fighting this war.
Right.
So it was a nice breakdown of society.
War. Yeah.
Right. And you pointed out there's a huge underlying theme throughout this book, and it was excellent. It's not, you could read it and not pick up on it if you're just casually reading it, but it's there. It's not in your face and annoying. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and as for me, it's a fresh take. It's like I'm very well acquainted with the DC universe and the Marvel universe.
Right.
Here's a group of heroes that I'm not so well acquainted with that it kind of feels like something fresh that I get to jump into. With that, I guess we shall unveil our new rating system for this episode, which is I'm going to give this one 2.75. Oh crap!
Hobo Jenkins.
Hobo Jenkins. I want to say Bubba Hotep.
Bubba Hotep.
Yeah, no, Hobo Jenkins. I'm going to 2.75 Hobo Jenkins.
I think I'm just a hair ahead of that. I think I'm going to give it a nice even 3, Hobo Jenkins.
Really?
Well, the hair did blow my skirt up, so.
I'm actually going with a 2.5.
Oh,
okay.
low ball.
Hobo Jenkins.
That's middle of the road for him.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I like it, and one of the things I liked the most about it was the art, but also like seeing Black Terror is really cool and stuff like that.
I just thought that scene was funny, just pointing out the superheroics and villains' names.
Yeah.
There's a character named Black Terror, and they point it out, and it's kind of comedic, so that was cool.
For today's age, it wouldn't go over so well.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good book. It wasn't my top.
All right.
All right. Well, moving on to Adventures of the Supersons #1. It is a 12-issue series. The team on this is Tomasi, Barberi, Thibert, and
Proto Bunker. That's not a real name. It's not a real name.
This one was all around fun. I mean, I wasn't expecting a whole lot just because I haven't read the Supersons from Rebirth yet. It's a series I've wanted to read because I'm interested in both the characters, but this one is just, it feels like Teen Titans to me. And Young Justice, you brought that up while reading it, and I was trying not to think of that while reading it, but I couldn't help it.
Young Justice, the comic, not the cartoon.
Yes, but
both are equally great. But
thank you for throwing that one in.
I just need
to throw that in
They're
there.
very different.
They are very
it's
different.
Very fun. Speaking of differences, it's great. You see the personality difference between both John and Damian. Damian being clearly Bruce Wayne, Batman's son, in his method, and John being kind of clueless and just fun to be here and aloof. It was an all-around fun read. What did you guys think of it?
I absolutely loved it. I mean, I love the Young Justice. I love both Young Justice, but I love the Young Justice comic book, and it has that feel to it, and I just absolutely loved every bit of it. The story, the dialogue, the artwork, everything about it. I loved it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all I can really keep saying.
It's goofy fun. I will say that this takes place in between the Super Sons #16 and the Superman Special #1, which is I'm glad it finds its way into chronology there for me because I was reading Superman and Super Sons, so it's nice to know where this kind of fits in. Unfortunately, Super Sons was canceled. But yeah, this book it's just a lot of fun. It's a fun little read. You get your kicks. One of the first things I noticed again is that DC is doing this thing where they're kind of taking it back to the 90s with the pages. They're not the glossy print pages anymore. So I liked that. But yeah, this book is just a lot of fun. At the very end, all the villains who come around, you're just like, I'm in for a good little 12-issue arc. This is going to be a little bit of a treat. I love the dynamic between Damian and John. And I got to say, as someone who was a Damian hater a couple years ago, this character's grown on me. I'm really digging it.
And everything that he's in, like, I mean, the new Teen Titans storyline. I mean, he's great in that.
Yeah, it seems like his personality's shifting to more of a leader as opposed to a whiny "I hate my parents."
Right, and I think he's taking his rightful place.
He's like, I'm not gonna whine about it, but I still hate my parents.
Right, but it's not like every dialogue bubble, so it's nice to see him evolve as a character.
I will say, I'm glad that Tomasi has stopped putting that thing in there that Damian always seemed to do. Is like this weird idiosyncrasy he had where it's just like whatever. It's like a TCH or a TSK.
Like an angsty teen.
Yeah, that annoyed the piss out of me. So I'm glad that we're past that. But all right.
I'm going to give this one, honestly, I really enjoyed it for what it is. I'm going to give it 4.5.
Oh, holy shit. Okay.
I'm on the same page. 4.5 Hobo Jenkins.
Okay, I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as you guys, but I liked it. I'm giving it 3.25 Hobo Jenkins.
Hey, to each their own.
Yeah, I mean,
wrong.
Yeah. It blew my hair back.
It blew my hair back. Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm still like, I'm in love with
You're in Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man mode that we were in.
No, I'm in Super
Well, you
Sons.
can move on.
Okay, so I read Mr. Miracle number 10, written by Tom King, and, oh man, help me.
Gerards.
Yeah, Gerards. At first, I really did not like the Mr. Miracle storyline. I thought it was very, very overhyped. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that. But the past couple of issues of this this series has been really good. And I don't know if it's a mixture of just maybe I'm not having people come over and overhype it to me anymore, so now I can actually sit back and enjoy it, or if it's just actually getting better. And I think it's actually just because it's getting to the point. And I really enjoyed this. The artwork's great. The story, it's you can relate to it, but it's still dealing with gods and superheroes and a war and everything, but you can still relate to it on a very
human level.
Yeah, very human level.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and I know Jake read it, so
yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. I nothing about this series appealed to me. Probably in the first 6 or 7 issues, I was completely dogging this because it was so overhyped. But now I think this series has finally kind of hit its footing. When this issue, I actually think this might be my second favorite issue out of this episode. And that is because this issue, as you were talking about, hits on a very human level, right? There was a moment, I got to point out, there was a moment where Scott's in the shower, right? And he's not saying anything, but you can see his body language just crumbling because he just feels the weight of the world on his shoulders. And while he's in the shower, Barda is just asking him, like, did you do this? Did you get this? What do you think about this? And I mean, I don't know how about you guys feel, but I've been in that position where you come home from a long day at work and your girlfriend or whoever wants to just have a conversation with you, and it's like, here's how my day was. Do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? How do you feel about this? And it's just like, Jesus Christ, just let me decompress. Like, I just need to be alone for a few minutes, I got that moment from him. And then it's all about, like, the mundane stuff that gods are dealing with. It's the stuff that we deal with. They even go out of their way to show this guy putting his credit card into the credit card processing machine. Like 2 panels are devoted.
Being haggled about a rewards membership.
Right, and but then there's also this weird kind of fourth wall breaking stuff from the cashier there. But I really, really dug this issue. And then of course it talks, and then actually I think I related more to Barda than anybody in this book, and she's talking about how, hey, like, I'm having this baby. I've had this baby. I'm taking care of it. Don't tell me I got to take care of you too. I've been in kind of a situation like that before, and it really hit home with me. And this one I actually
baby.
No, but like I've had that where I was like, I'm trying to keep my world in order and somebody else's world in order because they can't do it for themselves, And so that one hit home for me. So I got to say, this issue finally feels like it's got traction and it's hitting the point, as you were saying. It's finally got a direction. And one thing I do love is that Barda and Scott's relationship never seems to be at the point where we're going to break up. Yeah, they have their ups and downs, but they love each other at the very end of it. So I got to say, as much as I've dogged Tom King, I really, really like this issue.
I agree. I'm so right there with you. And with that being said, I give this book 3.25 Hobo Jenkins.
I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going 3.75 Hobo Jenkins.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then with that, we all three read Leviathan. It's an issue 1 from Image this week from Layman and Pitara. And I got to say, this is such a weird issue.
It is.
I remember Josh and I going to our order form going, you know what, this looks interesting. Let's order a couple copies of this. And it's basically another kind of dumb, fun, kind of grotesque horror issue about these kids who are just wanting to throw a party, and giant monster comes out, and it's grotesque. The art reminds me of like this more absurd version of As Told by Ginger, if anybody remembers that cartoon, but it's mixed with like shits and fucks and all that other stuff, and it's very meta.
President Bush's Bush, or not President Bush's?
Yeah,
Bush,
President Trump.
But President Bush, but not that same presidential.
President Trump's Bush is seen in this one.
I made it too confusing.
Yeah, and it's also meta. The black kids like, look, the black guys die first in horror movies. I'm getting the fuck out of here. See you later. And
that part had me laughing quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a goofy little romp, and it's a 5-issue thing. I think I'm gonna definitely check out issue 2. And this is actually where we get our rating from this week is Hobo Jenkins. So
yeah.
From that, I'm gonna give this one a 2.5 Hobo Jenkins just because I had fun with it. It's goofy. It's not meant to take itself seriously. You're not, as the reader, not meant to take it seriously. And I had a good little time with it.
Basically in the same boat. You go into it like you would a monster flick. You know what you're expecting. That's all I've got to say about it. I agree with basically everything you said on it. I'm going to give this one probably a solid 3, Old Man Jenkins.
I'm right there with you,
Hobo
Jake.
Jenkins.
Yeah.
Hobo Jenkins.
Hobo Jenkins.
You said Old Man Jenkins.
Jeez.
Well, that's what it was originally.
Old
It was
Hobo
Man.
Jenkins. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you on this, Jake. I give it 2.5. It's mostly, for me, the one thing that I really enjoyed about it is I really love the artwork. I love unconventional comic book artwork, and it's very colorful. The panels, the way they do the panels,
It's a lot of movement.
It's a lot of movement.
Yeah.
Yes, like you can actually, with the way that they design the panels, it actually shows the movement of a character, which is really cool. And you don't really see a whole lot in a lot of comic books.
It's very Kirby-esque.
Yeah, Kirby-esque.
There you go.
Kirby-esque is like, I don't know if we can add that to our dictionary.
Yeah, well, Kirby was very good at making static images, making it look like there's movement.
I know what you're
from
talking
panel to
about.
panel.
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
I know what you're talking about. I thought you were trying to make a new word.
Oh, no, Kirby-esque, no. Kafka-esque, no.
You can say Kirby.
It's Kirby-esque.
Kirby sounds more like a word that I thought I would say, thinking it was
Anyways.
an actual word. But yeah.
How many
I said
Hobo
2.5.
Jenkins? Okay, 2.5 Hobo Jenkins.
Yeah.
So I'm going to transition into Batman number 52, and with that, I think Jake would like to tell the listeners something.
Your code phrase for 20% off any issue that is not on your pull list this week is Batman Kills Babies.
Thank you for that, for our spokesperson here. Moving on into Batman 52, it's the continuation of the story arc Cold Days. The team on this is Tom King, Weeks, and Breitweiser.
Yeah, Lee Weeks is the artist, and I gotta say, I really dig his art.
It's pretty awesome.
Reminds me of Alex Maleev on Daredevil.
Good comparison.
It's got a feel of that to me.
Good comparison. This one, I like the execution, but it's a straight rip-off of 12 Angry Men, the film. It's literally a court case. The jury's deciding. Everybody thinks this person's guilty except one person. So that's basically what this is.
It reminds me of the Hey Arnold episode, actually, if Arnold doesn't think that so-and-so did it, but it was actually Curly. I love that episode.
Anyways.
Which is also a rip-off of 12 Angry Men. So.
This one I enjoyed basically because Bruce Wayne's having to look at himself as Batman and see that maybe he's being too brutal at some point, and maybe everyone shouldn't wholeheartedly trust just Batman and should see everything and quit just siding with Batman and see all the facts here, because that's
how dangerous assumptions can be. Yeah,
and it honestly, the first issue I was kind of in the same boat. I think we all were. They were avoiding the fallout from number 50, and whatever. We're 2 issues past that. This one I actually enjoyed. Still not what I want out of Batman, but it was a good little read. So this one, I'm going to give this one probably 2.5 Hobo Jenkins. What about you guys?
I enjoy this more than I did most Tom King Batman, like Tom King's Batman run. The last issue was really, I felt about the same. My biggest thing on it is I feel like they're kind of avoiding, or they're elongating. Is that a word? Prolonging the execution of Batman's feelings towards the ending of Batman 50. And I get that, and I don't understand why DC and Marvel both do this, where they want to take so long to get to what everybody wants to see. I understand that maybe you should just be patient, but at the same time, it's like, don't give me like 5 issues just to give me what I want, which I want to see how Batman's going to react to this. And, I mean, you kind of get an idea of what he's doing. So I just kind of feel like they're taking too long just to kind of answer that question. But I did enjoy it. The artwork was great, and I think this is, I don't know what it is. Normally I'm always hating on Tom King, and Tom King's actually doing a pretty good job this week. So I give it a 2.5 Hobo Jenkins.
Okay, I'm actually with you, dude. I think Tom King's actually 2 for 2 this week, which never happens for me. So I must emphasize this.
I don't know. Maybe we're high.
You know what the thing is? I didn't hate any books this week, and usually I don't know if I'm just in a really good mood or what it is, but no, I disagree with you in that they're not handling the fallout or the repercussions of the marriage not going through, and I think that's answered in this book. It's just not spoon-fed to us, and it's when we see Batman just literally beating the snot out of Mr. Freeze,
but it's just
right?
Like,
but
I can see that he's gonna take like 3 to 4 issues,
right?
to get
And I
to
mean,
it.
yeah, exactly. But the thing is, he's beating the snot out of Mr. Freeze, and the whole time he's punishing himself. That's what this issue is, and I've finally gotten a beat on that. Last issue, I kind of got it, but this one, he's punishing himself. He wants people to stop looking at Batman as such a good person because he doesn't see himself that way. And what he did to Mr. Freeze out of anger because he's frustrated from bottling all these emotions inside, he wants people to understand that he's not infallible. He's a guy who's flawed and he makes mistakes. And so that's kind of what this issue is all about. And yes, it's under the mask or guise of the 12 Angry Men story. So actually, I really enjoyed this issue as well. Not as much as I enjoyed Mr. Miracle, but I felt this issue and I felt like what it was trying to do, it resonated with me. So I'm actually going 3.25 Hobo Jenkins on this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that there's one part in that book that I really enjoyed, and it was the part where that you're talking about where he's beating on Freeze, and he talks about like when he loses something, and then how it brings him all right back to when he lost his parents, and I was like, that's like, wow, that's really impactful.
To me, it's a precursor to Heroes in Crisis. It's basically Batman has PTSD. And every time he goes through something that's like this, he's reliving the moment of his parents dying.
That's probably what's gonna. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he has PTSD because of his parents dying, and also
and being a witness and
Batman
Soul
50
Survivor.
not being that great of a book.
Survivor's Guilt. All right, and we're gonna be moving on to
Green Arrow 43.
All right.
It's written by Benson or it's done by Benson and Benson. Is that right? Okay. I love the Green Arrow run, and I was kind of worried when they switched the teams, and I'm actually digging this team. The artwork is, once again, it's kind of unconventional, but kind of conventional at the same time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this weird middle ground, and it feels like Green Arrow. The beginning of the book is kind of slow, and that's gonna kind of like determine my score, my rating. I'm sorry, I'm just like blah, blah, blah. But the ending, just like yes, I'm in. Like, now you got me. I'm ready for the rest of this run. With that being said, what did you think, Jake? I know you read it.
Yeah, I absolutely love this issue. It took me about halfway through the book to finally go, okay, I actually am really digging where this issue's going. But again, this one is something, and I don't think it's something that people should be worried about because Green Arrow has always been this way, but it is politically charged. There's a political message behind this. They come out and say social justice warrior, but I really like this idea that they're putting in there that in this wave of social media, we can be a trial by peer or a trial of your peers. Fucking, what am I trying to say? Anyway, basically, social media gets to determine what happens. You know, like we can, a mass wave of angry people can take someone's career down, like, you know, James Gunn or somebody, or Roseanne. You know, it's kind of something like that, but it's this guy who's going to the extremes, who's willing to execute people, and it's targeting the 1%, the rich billionaires and stuff, in a time in our country right now where we're all kind of very angry and frustrated with the 1% getting their tax cuts and trickle-down economics actually not working. This being proven twice in the last 40 years. So I really like this, and it took me about halfway through to get into the book, but now I see where it's going and I really like it. There's also this side story going on with Roy that I'm really excited for as well. So for me, I'm going same thing I did with Batman, actually, 3.25 Hobo Jenkins.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm going 3.5 Hobo Jenkins. I really, the beginning had me kind of, but the ending, I'm down for the ending. It was
a little more brutal than I thought it would be, too.
Oh, yeah, it kind of jumps up there.
Yeah.
And one thing I love about the Green Arrow book, and they did it in the beginning of this whole run, was they make it seem like they're attacking the social justice warriors in a way, but they're really not. They're kind of showing that, like, you don't have to be a social justice warrior to still be a social justice warrior. Does
Yeah.
that make
Well,
sense?
the thing
Like,
is,
it seems
the
kinda
term
confusing.
SJW has become like a bad word now.
Yeah.
You know, and so they're like, fuck your terminology. Just do what's right.
Yeah, and like if you ever think about it, like Ollie has been in that mind frame
Since the 50s.
Yeah, since the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Yeah. And then the last one I'm going to be talking about is Justice League number 5, or, Legion of Doom. And this was actually, surprisingly, my favorite issue out of today's episode. And I wish Dallas hadn't pointed out who wrote this one until after I read the book to see how I felt. But this one was James Tynion and Doug Mahnke on it. It always reminds me of a Pokemon. But basically, this issue is everything that we saw in the first 4 issues told from the perspective of Lex Luthor and what he's doing with Sinestro and stuff. So I gotta say, this one really resonated with me because, everyone's got that dark side to them, right? I'm sure everyone has, dark thoughts. I just want to kill this motherfucker right now,
We are
right?
really finding a weird spot in Jake's psyche.
Yeah,
I'm
but
kind of scared.
But the thing is, Luthor finds out that, in the future, a million years after his death, he's right. And it's basically that humans are trying to be superheroes, but not just being superheroes, but they're trying to live up to this moral standard of being the best person that they can be. And instead of doing that, if you were to just give in to all everything that makes you basically primal and instinctual, if you were to just give in to that, how much more the world and society could actually progress. And it's a really interesting and thought-provoking idea because, I've had those moments where I've been like, why am I trying so hard to be a good person right now? Why shouldn't I just do exactly what I feel or say exactly what I think and all that stuff? So it was really cool. It was really interesting. I think the way that Tynion describes some of the science behind this, whether it's, it's basically pseudo-bullshit science, but I really like the way he's able to elaborate on it. And then we finally see what he's doing with Superman. It all kind of comes back full circle from the past 4 issues. So I got to say, this is definitely my favorite issue of Justice League so far. I love seeing Sinestro in his suit, and I love the idea of you'll see it when you read it, but the idea of Doom in this book, it's got me really interested in if Snyder can just hand the reins off to Tynion, or at least take this premise and run with it. I think they actually potentially have a great Justice League run on their hands.
I'm on the other side of the coin here. I didn't hate it. It's not my least favorite Justice League issue, but it's not my favorite one. I will say that Tynion seems to have a good voice for both Lex Luthor and Sinestro from what he's in it. I enjoy seeing the ideology and the plans that have been set up over these last 4 issues because we've only seen the Justice League's perspective with the occasional hints of the Legion of Doom. However, in those 4 issues, the Legion of Doom were my least favorite parts of those issues. So that negates this a little bit. Like I said, it's not my least favorite, but it's not my favorite. Josh?
Okay, I'm going to take that coin. I'm going to flip it.
Right back over, son.
Okay, right back over. Out of the last 4 issues of Justice League, and you can go back and listen on the review or other reviews, the only thing I ever really liked from them was the parts with Legion of Doom, was the parts with Sinestro and Lex Luthor and all that stuff. So I don't even know if it's really a Snyder thing or if it's a Tynion, if it's a writer thing, or if it's just now I'm getting the Legion of Doom and I'm just getting a whole book of that, no Justice League. So it could be that. Not saying that I have serial killer tendencies like Jake over here. I'm not. But I just
did you say suicide?
No,
It's
serial
serial
Oh,
killer.
serial killers. What the fuck?
No, we didn't say suicidal tendencies.
Okay.
No, now I'm more worried about them.
No, it's a band.
Oh, okay. But with that being said, I did enjoy it. It wasn't my favorite read of the day. I probably felt I like this better than all the other issues of Justice League, but it doesn't mean that it's fantastic.
Great.
You know, it's I'm oh my god, getting on my knees knobbling it. But
Will you just give it your damn score already?
you want my score?
Yeah.
You guys want my score?
All right,
huh?
so my score on this, I'm probably giving this one, honestly, a lot of them are just at this even 3. I'm going to give it a 3. Hobo Jenkins.
Give it a 2.75.
Oh wow, I'm going much higher than you. Like I said, guys, this one it talked about don't feel guilty for your impulses and being the way that you are. I liked it. I'm giving it 4 Hobo Jenkins.
You know what? You talked me into it. I give it 3.
All right.
All right, you talked him to meet
All
my mediocre score of it because you loved it. I thought it was-
Mediocre. 3 is better than a 2.5.
Yeah, but
No,
that's
3 is
favorable.
actually
Three is a
better than
positive
half.
rating.
It's all right.
3 is
But-
still passing. Okay.
It's still passing, barely. So moving on to the last issue of this podcast, I read TMNT Bebop and Rocksteady Hit the Road #1 by IDW. and I will find the team in a second on this one.
I promise you guys we don't force him to read these.
No, I like the
these
Teenage
ones.
Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I saw it was a #1, and I basically a monster movie is what I equate this to. You know what you're getting into when you read it.
I just want the San Diego Comic-Con for turtle figures, man. I want this so
Eventually you'll
bad.
get it.
You're
You'll get
even
it.
bringing up on the podcast. Jesus.
So bad.
Somebody out there, if you have them, give them to them.
Anyways, so this issue was just a lot of fun. You get a lot of backstory in terms of who they are as characters, Bebop and Rocksteady. They get hit with this sort of conundrum. New creatures get introduced, and it's just all around fun. Again, it's them looking at themselves like, why aren't we the heroes? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are so popular. Why don't we try this gig? So it's just them looking at themselves again, like re-examining, like most of the books have been today. So it was a lot of fun. I'm going to give this one probably 3.5 Hobo Jenkins.
Wow, better than Legion of Doom.
Wow, that's I don't know about that.
That's some high praise.
Hey, can you do me a favor
yeah.
before when you're signing out? Can you do this like as an impersonation of Ralph on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Raph. It's Raph.
Yeah, do
No,
it.
I'm not going to do it. But guys, we thank you so much for listening.
Cowabunga, dude!
That's Michelangelo, you dumbass.
I just threw it in there. I can't do Ralph.
Okay, guys.
Not Ralph.
You gotta know what a crumpet is to know how to play cricket.
All right, guys. Well, we really appreciate you guys listening. We hope that you like this format. Again, we only went 2 instead of like the 5 we did last week. So let us know what you like best by hitting that thumbs up button on whichever one you like the most. Let us know if there's any way we can improve this. We really appreciate all the support so far. Hoping to gain some more subscribers out of this. And we want to thank you for listening. And be on the lookout tomorrow. We're going to do another podcast where we talk all about the comic information that was dumped during San Diego Comic-Con that was completely overshadowed by all the great trailers and other
Firing of directors.
Yeah, and all the other good news we got out of San Diego Comic-Con. So we will hope to see you guys tomorrow, and thanks for listening.